Dr. Frankenstein watches birds' oxygen slowly cut off from inside a glass bomb, killing God and allowing scientists to take over God's creation of mankind and all its principles. And man becomes God in his own image. From here, there's no going back. The challenge of death will now lie in the rotting flesh deep down within the graves. In the days of no electricity, or so they thought, in the 17th century, imagination runs wild from flickering candles, howling winds, rain pouring down like dripping blood, as bolts of lightning strikes an idea for our Dr. Frankenstein. Surrounded with hills all around is a small village, and in that village, next to the cemetery, a very large, distinctive Gothic house where middle-class philosophers, psychiatrists, and scientists gather together, and among these great brains is the greatest of all, Dr. Frankenstein. In 1628, Dr. William Harvey discovered how the blood works inside animals and humans, and Harvey knew Frankenstein well, and often shared ideas together. In fact, Harvey would have never discovered the works of the body without Frankenstein persuading Harvey to do these controversial experiments. However, Dr. Frankenstein was indeed a very wealthy, deviant man, so it didn't take much persuading. One afternoon, a volcano erupted, and it went from light to dark in an instant. So as soon as the two doctors lighted candles, ideas came above their station. So they went into the lab and both took a drug called absinthe. It wasn't long before the drug took effect. Images flashing in front of their eyes, Dr. Frankenstein saw black clouds swelling around the moon, and clouds were forever changing shapes. And in them shapes he saw his dead wife die in a car crash, her head going through the car windscreen, and suddenly she comes back to life. Just then Dr. Frankenstein comes back into his reality and passes out. He finds himself slumped over his dark oak wooden writing desk that sits in front of a Gothic made window with a view to die for. And looking out his window, a huge graveyard, Dr. Frankenstein goes over his dreadful nightmare of his dead wife, while staring through the fog at the graveyard when a great idea struck him down. He decides to make plans to bring his wife back from the dead. Straight away he comes across his first problem. His dead wife has rotted away, and only the bones are left, so nothing to go on there. He takes a stroll around the graveyard when he hears a faint woman's voice in the deep mist that sweeps over the grave headstones.
Frankenstein,
She calls.
Frankenstein, my love. Frankenstein, help me, help me.
Dr. Frankenstein heard her cries for help, and his first problem is solved. Dr. Frankenstein goes off to build the very first spirit Hoover machine. It might sound ridiculous, but you won't believe the power the revolutionary superhuman brain source. Dr. Frankenstein might be hurting inside, but he is focused and determined to bring his true love back to life. In 1565, Dr. Frankenstein went to see Dr. Michael Nostradamus a year before his death, and he shown Dr. Frankenstein forbidden books of the church's secret location, and a drug that shown you the future. It was also like a time machine inside the brain. And today, Dr. Frankenstein now has these books and the secret time machine drug in his possession. And now it is time for him to get ready to go on a journey that he's dreamt of in all these years, in a blink of an eye, before he drinks the drug. He has to make sure everything is in place. So he sits at his desk and opens the drawer and pulls out lots of writing paper, ink, 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 and lights the candle and pours out the poison. He is ready for the future. He drinks the sacred time machine drug, and the countdown begins. It takes 1 minute, but it feels like an hour. With anticipation and the nerves kick in. He's never been so scared in all his life. All paranoia thoughts running through his mind, flashbacks of the past that he cannot avoid. And then suddenly, a big flash of light and a clear image, like he was somewhere else. He sees an old man reading the paper, and on that paper reads, Dennis Papin invents the first pressure cooker. Newspaper dated 1679. And as he walks on, there is another old man reading a newspaper, but it looks exactly like the last one, and the paper reads, Gottfried Wilhelm Lemus invents the first calculating machine, dated 1671. Dr. Frankenstein looks up and notices a long row of the same old man, like a mirror image, reading a newspaper. He knows this is a sign, so he carries on the journey to read all the headlines in the papers. And they read as follows: 1663. James Gregory reflecting telescope, 1668. Isaac Newton reflecting telescope, 1764. James Agri spinning jenny, 1775. Alexander Cummins flush toilet, 1774. Georges Louis Russett electric telegraph, 1757. John Campbell sextant, 1776. David Bushnell submarine, 1701. Jethro Tull seed drill. Suddenly a bright light ahead and starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter and warmer and warmer and warmer and hotter and hotter and hotter, and Dr. Frankenstein wakes up with his hair on fire from the burning candle.
Silly man.
But as soon as he puts the fire out, he had noticed that he managed to write everything down and made predictions. It's a miracle, he said out loudly. With all this new information, I myself can now become God. In fact, how do I know if I might have been God? And what if I decided that I wanted to become human and I forgot that I am God? Damn.
Now that would be fatal. Does that mean I should be
creating a God rather than human? So I can remember who the hell I am? I will have to put these thoughts to one side and start my experiment. I have all the information I need, so I will start with the Hoover time machine and suck up the wife's spirit brain. All I have to do is point the nozzle up in the air and turn on the spirit finder. Now this is where I can't afford to make any mistakes. Yeah, just in case I suck up Adolf Hitler or Jimmy friggin' Savile or someone like that. It took a while before I managed to find my beloved dead wife. At last, I have her inside the Hoover bag. It's okay. It's okay. It is nice and clean. No cat shit or anything like that. However, it's only her brain I need. It's only her. It is only her brain I need, isn't it? Let me think. Yeah, it's just a brain I need, nothing else. And now, for the body parts, I go over to the graveyard to see what's on offer. Yeah, with a bit of luck, I might get 4 bodies for the price of 1. I might even manage to get 6 bodies. So I look to see where to start. I start with the heads. Now who's got the best looking face? God damn, that's ugly. Let's get rid of that head for starters. She's got a nice pair of legs though. Yeah, I love them. 12 hours later, Dr. Frankenstein was almost complete, as he just about to put the head on the body, and a surprise visit comes along. It was Doctor Who.
Hello, Dr. Frankenstein. It is I, Doctor Who.
Dr. Frankenstein said, "Who? Doctor Who?"
You still have your sense of humour, then I say, Dr. Frankenstein
said. No, not really.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who are you?
I don't know, but you're sounding like me and I'm sounding like you now. So he explained.
You are making a terrible mistake, Frankenstein.
I'm glad you caught on there. I realised who you are because I'm me and you're you and whatever.
Yes, well, I've seen your creation of your dead wife coming back into the future, and you have made one terrible big bad mistake, Frankenstein.
Oh, myself.
Don't tell me.
She starts killing everyone and runs off with the milkman. No, they don't have milkmen anymore, plus I don't think they have them in your century.
Or do they?
I'll have to Google that one. So what happens to my beloved wife then?
Well, it's not so much what happens to her,
it's what she looks like. Your wife gets laughed at with having big bolts through her neck. So I have a much better solution for you, Frankenstein. So what's that then? DNA. DNA. Yes, but what's DNA? Well, we know how to change the genes to simply create a whole human being without the need of any dead bodies or putting giant bolts through their necks.
Nah, fuck that shit.
I'll stick to my ideas, thank you very much.
But what about the bolt through her neck?
There. It don't matter, Doctor Who, because she never did like going out anyway.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Well, she's a fat lazy cow.
Eh,
Now, where did I put that tail?